let's talk about Jira. So I have a personal experience with Jira. So I got to know it very early, like I think 2006 or something.
Same.
And it was my company used it as the new bug tracking tool, and Jira was so elegant, so intuitive. Somehow at one point I was looking for a kind of filter, and I thought, how do I do this? And then it was right there. So they placed the thing exactly at the location where I was looking for it.
Yeah.
And yeah, so then some years later, yeah, I used it again for like agile planning. So for the handling of the tasks and so on. And it has changed. It has become complex. It was not intuitive at all. And yeah, I mean, I had the big impression that this tool is wasting my time now. Yeah? Um, and I would say I'm not alone here. So many people probably feel the same. And I want to know your opinion about it. So I mean, the way companies use Jira, is this according to the agile spirit? And is it really efficient in some way that it helps to to improve something?
Yeah. Unfortunately, like most of my answers, it really depends. I also had experience back in 2008 with it when it was just a bug tracker. Um, but the backbone of that was also the workflow, how to prioritize different bugs and how to make sure that they got done. Now that's its main function. It's basically a workflow machine, um, or a workflow environment, I should say. The the challenge with Jira is that they're trying to be all encompassing. They're trying to capture all of the activity of a company and make it represented in the program. That obviously is extremely difficult, which makes it extremely complex, which means that every time you encounter Jira, it's going to be different between projects, between companies, etc., because each can customize their own environment. And unfortunately, Jira can be a victim of the bureaucracy of large companies where they have restrictive IT policies. For instance, you as the engineer are not allowed to change this little bit of the template, even though that would really solve a lot of your pains, but then you have to go through the bureaucracy and such, and then you might eventually find that, company-wide, this feature's locked out. So again,
But
I do think Jira is quite powerful, although I think it's highly complex and often a victim of politics and bureaucracy. Um,
yeah,
it's
but so let's say the goal is kind of clear, to have an overview of what every team in the whole company is doing, right? This is the dream of management.
Yeah,
Um, to even say, hey, we have 50% of the project complete because 50% of the backlog is done. Yeah? But is that really? I mean, I understand that this is desirable from management point of view, but does it really help to make the product faster or better?
no. At the company scale, what it can do and what it can do well is give a good global overview of what's happening. For instance, if you are diligent in creating features or tasks or whatever that are linked to other things, the magic is in the linking. Um, if everything in the entire company is linked, and you take a step back and observe, you can really see what's happening across the project. And everybody else should be able to do the same. That's very powerful. But more often than not, things are not linked. Jira is treated as a team level task tracker. And yeah, the dependencies are often not linked. Um, and other different relations are not linked. or it's not well maintained, and therefore you get a wrong picture of what's actually happening at the company.
Yeah, because the effort is quite high, right? And as a software developer, you normally don't see the importance of tracking the task. I mean, you better do it, right? Without
Exactly,
tracking
yeah.
it much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, your task might actually affect 17 other people through this one other ticket. This is why big room meetings are so important, because you get to finally see the dependencies between different things marked with the red line. That's very powerful, and unfortunately I feel more often than not that the discipline around the mapping ends at the big room. It very seldom does it get put onto Jira, because it takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of discipline. Honestly, there should probably be one dedicated Jira manager per project, just to make sure everything is crisp and up to date. That way, people can see in real time the dependencies, because this is just one way to communicate, to encourage interactions. If my team is three teams removed from yours, but I know that, for instance, your task is mine is dependent on yours. I shouldn't have to hunt down to see the progress of your task. It should be readily available. It's like, my task is almost ready, but yours is delayed 3 days, for instance. Okay, well, now I know to go work on other things while I wait for yours to be done, so that I can build on top of yours, instead of me building my thing, you delivering yours, and my coding not being correct based on yours. So again, it's all about the implementation. And again, a lot of discipline is needed to use it. That's not necessarily a bad thing. It just takes some resources to do it.
Yeah. This one, and in this one, you didn't convince me. I think it's a
No?
waste of time.
Okay.
I mean, when
You
I
tell me
see
then.
I see I don't have a better solution. I mean, I cannot say, hey, you do it like this and everything is fine. But I still have the feeling that this is not the way. Also with the dependencies. Of course, you link the tickets and then you see the dependency. But actually, there are lots of dependencies you never see, or which are very temporary. You just have to talk to a person which sits hopefully in the next room, and this interactions before tools, right? That you don't need a tool to find out that this guy is the one I have to talk to now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, and on that note, often Jira is referred to as the tool, but really it should just be the tool that allows everything else to happen. Like, what I'm trying to say is that more often than not, I feel like the implementation of Jira is very heavy-handed. It's bloated. It's too much, and it can absolutely get in the way. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it was really sad to see that a tool I loved became this, right? So now everyone hates it, and
Yeah.
no one understands why I loved it once.
Yeah.
There are few tools I really developed a relationship with, and Jira was one of them.